All right, this is Isaiah 28 and 15. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. All right, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles, the great millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David, the elect. I was a high spirit in Judah of the GMS Mississippi camp. And what I want to go into today is, I don't really have the exact title, but basically, nigger culture was designed for us to cancel each other out. One thing that the brother Ayash said that it kind of struck a chord. Well, not struck a chord, but it made sense. And it was that street culture was the worst thing for the so-called black man after slavery, and the feminist movement was the worst thing for the so-called black woman. And I say so-called because really they are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. But we have a culture, within our culture has philosophies that causes us to cancel ourselves out. All right, causes us to cause our own destruction without pointing the finger directly at the so-called white man. All right, and that's making a covenant with death. All right, even when of course you're not keeping a dietary law, but even beyond that, when you take on a standard American diet, a diet full of processed food, you're making a covenant with death. All right, you take on a religion of Christianity or ultimately any belief outside of your nationality. Are you making a covenant with death? Because within those beliefs, all right, are avenues to death. All right. If you think about it, street culture was the worst thing since slavery, man. All right, Jake has died through gun violence than probably lynching. I mean, I haven't looked up the stats, compared it to Jim Crow or none, but I have reason to believe that more Israelites have probably been put to death, all right, through gun violence than actually being lynched from a damn tree, man. All right, by Edomite, man. Right? Jake has a culture that causes him to counsel himself out, man. All right? Like you said, you got Eve thinking it's offensive to be a damn housewife, but you've exchanged that for being a damn harlot, man. It's about some wet ass fucking pussy, man. Fuck you, man. And I wasn't even planning on talking like that. I make an effort to not talk like that, but it comes out, man. Because basically you're a damn prostitute, man. All right? You're a fucking prostitute. That's what you want. You want to barter your fucking pussy for stability. All right? If you go on a red light district, you walk down a red light district, if you go on some site where women sell sex, what's the first thing they're gonna talk about? They're gonna talk about how wet their pussy is, man, or how good their head is. And you've debased yourself to that shit, man. But it's offensive to be a moral, a housewife of morals. That's offensive. But you could openly be a fucking prostitute, man. Get out of here, man. All right, but that's nothing but the curses. All right, there's nothing but the curses, man. Let me get the scriptures, so you won't just think I'm just a mad so-called black guy. My girlfriend broke up with me, so I had to do a lesson, whatever, Amos 7 and 17. Therefore, thus said Yahweh, thy wife should be a harlot in the city. And that's talking about the Israelite woman, the so-called black, Hispanic, Native American. Because you have a culture that blindly causes you to be a fucking harlot. You have a culture that blindly causes you to be a goddamn harlot. And it goes on to say, and our sons and our daughters shall fall by the sword. But the sword you fall by is basically by the sword of an Israelite. I mean, it's Esau's weapon. But Jake is the most dangerous thing to a Jake. Yeah, we talk about Esau, but the algorithms of the curses got to play out to where, shit, Jake is a domestic terrorist. If you are a drug dealer, you are a domestic terrorist. All right? If you shoot up Jake in their neighborhoods or whatever you do, you're in a gang, you are a domestic terrorist, man. You are a terror to your own people. You know, if you get little news breaks and stuff from cities like Chicago, a lot of civilians get put to death or just shot because of what Jake and the gangs are doing. Your uncle or your dad or granddad is checking the mailbox and he take a shot, man, because of what Jake got going on. All right? You have a culture that causes you to cancel out your own nation, man, your own so-called race. All right? Amos 7:17. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, thy wife should be a harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land. And we're fucking dying in a polluted land. When you get around Jake, man, you get around, let's say you get around your family, man, or you get around Jake, you can feel the energy of death. You can feel sorrow. You can feel grief around Jake, man, because they're playing out a culture that's going to inevitably have them put to death, man, or just die prematurely. And thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. Now you're gonna die in a polluted land. Or how many T-shirts of Jake with wings on them do you gotta make for you to realize that something is not right? All right, and the way you know that what's going on with the culture is infiltrated by Satan. All right, the spiritual demon Satan and the physical counterpart is that you can't play out these philosophies outside of America. You can't go to a land where, okay, the whole nation has to go to a land and we have to govern ourselves and sustain ourselves off the land. You can't sustain yourself. Eve can't sustain herself with the philosophies that she has in America. All right. Jake can't survive being a damn street nigga or in some damn stranded island, Okay. All right. You're going to counsel yourself out. All right. That's how you know that the philosophy, it ain't no welfare system if you have to go to a stranded island, man. All right? It ain't no finessing, all right? It ain't no jugging, all right? See, that's cute when you're in a first world country, but when you are separated from that first world country, you realize that you're going to have to depend on your own nation to survive. That's when you see the importance of the law, statutes, and commandments, man. All right? But yeah, Jake has adopted a culture that caused them to cause their own demise. Now you're going to understand that to have an abortion or every other so-called black woman having an abortion is a great liability to your nation. Because when you leave that first world bullshit, right, you're going to understand the value of a man. So why would you abort a baby? You're going to understand the value of life in human labor, right? Manual labor. So why would you abort a baby? All right? That stuff only makes sense because America is fat. All right, it's a delicate country. It's a first world country, man. All right, but if you have to start back from the bottom, these little systems that you have, all right, they won't make sense when you have to depend on your own people for the survival of your nation, man. I don't need a man. Try that shit when they unplug the grid, man. And Jake, man, Jake is the reason why I'm looking forward to the time when Jake was trouble. And I know it's gonna be dark. I know it's gonna be uncomfortable and scary, to be honest. But fuck, I'm tired of this shit, man. I'm tired of this, man. All right, because ultimately, Jacob's trouble is you going from killing your damn self to Esau after killing you, man. All right, you're the problem, man. All right, 2/3 of our people, you're the problem because you've adopted a culture that causes you to cancel yourself out, man. Causes you to destroy your damn self. But with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem, Kakodash. Double honors to our apostles, great millstone, well. Peace and blessed house, David the elect. Abba, come out, Shalom.